Hello once again, everyone. Riley's my name, and today history's our game. Today, we're looking at one of the most notorious figures in Chinese history. He was a former nationalist turned arch traitor and the leader of his own puppet state during the Second Sino-Japanese War. In modern times, his name is synonymous with treachery and deceit, with selling your soul for power. That's right. Today, we're talking about Wang Jingwei. So just who was Wang Jingwei? Wang Jingwei was a Chinese politician known for being the president of the reorganized national government of the Republic of China, often just called the Wang Jingwei regime, whose flag is present on the right side of the screen. As you'll notice, it is actually the flag of the Republic of China with a yellow banner atop, with the characters saying peace, anti-communism, nation building. Wang Jingwei was born Wang Xiaoming on 4th May 1883 in Shanshui, Guangdong, of Zhejiang stock. During his lifetime, he was a member of the Tongmenghui, as well as the Kuomintang. After a rather uneventful childhood, Wang Jingwei traveled to Japan in 1903 to study. While abroad in Japan, he met Sun Yat-sen, an encounter which would change his life forever. This would lead Wang to join the Zhongguo Tongmenghui, the Chinese United League, in 1905. While in the Tongmenghui, he would adopt the sobriquet of Wang Jingwei. As for his studies, he studied political ideologies such as liberalism and Russian anarchism. These two ideologies would influence his thinking, but no ideology would affect him quite as much as nationalism. Japan's victory in the Russo-Japanese War would impress Wang greatly and drive him towards nationalism as an ideology that would unite the people. Upon his return to China, Wang Jingwei would become a nationalist advocate and public speaker in the latter half of the 1900 decade. Growing ever more radical, Wang's sect of the Tongmenghui would attempt to assassinate Eisenjuro Zaifeng, better known as Prince Chun. Before the attempt, Wang met Chen Bijun, a fellow member of the Tongmenghui. In 1910, the two were married informally, and Wang and his comrades went through with the attempt. However, their luck ran out, and the bomb they were going to use was discovered. Wang and his fellows were arrested and faced execution. Wang confessed to the crime and pled guilty. But instead of being executed, he was sentenced to life in prison. Rumor has it that his confession was so moving that it convinced Prince Shangqi of the Qing dynasty to commute his sentence, but no one will ever really know why it happened. Wang remained in jail until 1911 with the Wuchang Uprising, which was the beginning of the Xinhai Revolution. This revolution was the end of the Qing dynasty, and it was influenced by the Tongmenghui, but it arose from popular unrest about rail disputes. The straw that broke the camel's back. Wang was broken out of jail by the Xinhai rebels and formally married Chen Bijun in 1912. After being freed, Wang spent a lot of his time in France, but Chinese politics would not wait for him to come back before heating up again. In 1913, a Chinese politician by the name of Shang Jiaoren was shot and killed. The traditionalist Yuan Shikai was held to be responsible, causing much political turmoil. Wang was summoned back to China by Sun Yat-sen, and he would remain in China for some time afterward. This would not be the last France would see of Wang Jingwei, for he would return again in time to be a special observer at the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1920. There, Wang witnessed the unfairness of the treaty to China, and he was outraged, much like many other Chinese politicians at the time. During the early 20s, Wang Jingwei would hold several positions in Sun Yat-sen's government in Guangzhou. Wang regularly accompanied Sun Yat-sen on trips outside the Kuomintang's territory before the latter's untimely death in 1925. With a gaping void in the Kuomintang's power structure left by Sun Yat-sen's death, Wang Jingwei engaged in a power struggle with another potential leader, Chiang Kai-shek. Whereas Chiang was a militaristic leader who believed in greater central power for the government, Wang believed in a democratic constitutionalist movement that was meant to guide China's mass movements. This power struggle was quite brief, for he had lost control of the Kuomintang to Chiang by 1926 and was sent to Europe with his family. The event that purged Wang Jingwei from the Kuomintang was known as the Zhongshuang Warship Incident. It was not just Wang Jingwei who was purged, but other communist elements of the GMD as well. This was a move that aimed to solidify Chiang's power before his northern expedition began. The event occurred on the 20th of March of 1926, named for the SS Zhongshan, the GMT's most powerful ship. As usual, this was not the last Chiang would see of Wang Jingwei. He became a leading figure on the left wing of the Kuomintang. Wang was opposed to communism, but he regularly collaborated with communists such as Mao Zedong and his followers. In early 1927, Wang's faction declared Wuhan to be their capital. There was a very fierce rivalry between Wang Jingwei and Chiang Kai-shek, as their animosity from their leadership struggle had not died out yet. This factional GMD government is referred to by the term Ninghan separation, in Chinese, Ninghang Fanlie. Wang collaborated with various communist figures, not just from China but abroad, such as Mao Zedong, Chen Duxiu, and Mikhail Borodin. He adopted communist agendas in order to please them, including things like land reform. His reforms were opposed by Chiang Kai-shek, who was preparing for the Northern Expedition and needed a united front. Chiang Kai-shek occupied Shanghai in 1927, resulting in the Shanghai Massacre to suppress communists. Fearing retribution, Wang claimed fealty to Chiang before fleeing to Europe, where he would get in contact with a couple different fascist leaders of the time, including Adolf Hitler. More on that later. During Chiang's consolidated government, Wang Jingwei would collaborate with Feng Yuxiang and Yan Xishan to form an opposing central government in 1929. They were swiftly defeated in the Central Plains War of 1930, and after a less notable coup attempt, Wang reconciled with Chiang Kai-shek and was appointed premier just before the Battle of Shanghai in 1932. While he was premier, Chiang Kai-shek and Wang Jingwei fought regularly. Wang spent much of his time as premier in exile as a result, because Chiang would send him away after a disagreement. During these disagreements, he would often go to British Malaya to stay with Chen's family. This is where things start to get interesting for Wang's political career. In 1936, Wang argued that China should sign the Anti-Comintern Pact with Nazi Germany and imperialist Japan. Shortly after this, the Xi'an incident occurred, and Chiang Kai-shek was taken prisoner by one of his own generals. Wang sent a punitive expedition force to rescue him, but Chiang's wife Sung Mei-ling and his brother-in-law, Sung Jiwen, better known as TV Sung, successfully opposed this action because they feared that Wang Jingwei would gain too much power by rescuing Chiang Kai-shek. Later on, Wang accompanied the GMD's retreat to Chongqing during the Second Sino-Japanese War, but then he started to experience some second thoughts about the whole GMD thing. Wang Jingwei, like many other Chinese politicians at the time, was not optimistic about China's ability to win the war with Japan. In fact, he didn't think they had much of a chance at all. In his lifetime, he had seen Japan develop and modernize at a rapid pace. He spent time there and noticed just how modern it was compared to China. At the same time, he had witnessed economic stagnation in China under the systems they had tried. Thus, he believed that China was simply too backward, not only in economics, but in ideology, to prevail in a war with Japan. At the same time, Wang was also not willing to accept outside help to defeat the Japanese, especially from what he called the white powers. You know, the United States of America, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, others. Wang saw these powers as an equal threat to China as Japan. It was this pessimism, paired with an individualist mindset, that caused Wang to doubt his loyalties to the nationalist cause. Perhaps they would have remained doubts had there not been such a strong contrast with Chiang Kai-shek's belief system. Chiang believed that not only did China have a good chance of winning the war, but they could do it by working with other nations and accepting outside help. It was this difference of opinion that would cause Wang to permanently leave the premiership in 1935, directly following an attempt on his life. It was during this time that Wang Jingwei would experience a dramatic shift in his loyalties. Case in point. In late 1938, Wang Jingwei left China for Hanoi in French Indochina, which would later become Vietnam. Here, Wang supported Japanese settlement, due in part to his lack of faith in Chiang Kai-shek, and due in part to a sense of self-preservation. If you can't beat 'em, join 'em. That was Wang Jingwei's belief. For his ideological shift, Chiang Kai-shek awarded him with another assassination attempt in 1939. After this, Wang Jingwei directly collaborated with the Japanese government, having been driven away from the GMD for good. The Japanese government offered him something that he had never been able to get under Chiang Kai-shek: his own government to form. His title? President of the Executive Yuan and Chairman of the National Government. Xingzheng Yuanxing Jiang Guominzheng Fu Zhuxi. Wang Jingwei's new regime was based in Nanjing, but it quickly seized Shanghai and ended extraterritoriality in consensus with the Western powers based there. This here is a picture of Wang receiving Nazi diplomats in 1941, which is a very on-the-nose picture to use for his ideological shift. This begs the question, why exactly did Wang Jingwei do all of this? Why would he turn against his own people? Well, as I've just outlined, Wang Jingwei's outlook on the war was very pessimistic. But in addition to this, rivalry with Chiang Kai-shek put them at odds already. But could he have been trying to save China in his own way? It's a possibility. It is certainly a possibility. It's entirely possible that by allying with other nationalist groups and changing his mind about that Wang Jingwei was trying to make a better future for China. However, we can never truly know why he did what he did. We can just understand the zeitgeist of the time. We don't know what was going through Wang's mind when he decided to ally with the Japanese, but it can be summed up pretty easily with, if you can't beat them, join them. That is a gross reduction in what actually happened, but it's pretty true. So what was life like under the Wang Jingwei regime? Well, for starters, the regime only held Japan-controlled territory, so it wasn't really China. It was, however, deeply unpopular with the Chinese citizenry. Wang very quickly became a focal point of anti-Japanese resistances, mainly because of how quickly he was able to sell out his own people. In the 40s, Wang was branded a Hanjian, a Han traitor, for his actions, having betrayed not just the country of China, but the Han people as well. In the 40s, Wang was branded a Hanjian for his actions, not just because of his betrayal of the Han people, but for his betrayal of China as a whole. Here is a picture emblematic of this. Wang Jingwei meeting with Hideki Tojo in 1942. Despite the fact that Wang had everything he had ever wanted for once, it was not to last. News of his death was not released until the 12th of November, however, mostly due to the fact that Sun Yat-sen Day celebrations were still being held on the 11th. Wang Jingwei was to be buried in Guangdong at the base of Bayun Mountain, but he was temporarily buried near the Ming mausoleums. However, before he could be moved, his final resting place was discovered, and his tomb was desecrated and his body was burned. Now there is a small pavilion near the Ming mausoleums, which has a plaque talking about Wang Jingwei's atrocities. Many people believe that he is buried at the Sun Yat-sen mausoleum due to his proximity to Sun Yat-sen in lifetime, but this is simply not true due to the story that I just explained. For his role in the Asian Pacific theater of World War II, Wang Jingwei is not only considered a traitor to China, but also a traitor to Taiwan. Both countries focus on his treachery against each other, but Taiwan focuses specifically on his personal betrayal of Chiang Kai-shek, whereas China focuses on his shift from pro-communism, or at least tolerance of communists, to anti-communism full-on. Interestingly, both parties minimalize his original role in Sun Yat-sen's government, mostly due to his proximity to the latter being a corrupting influence in the Chinese memory. To this day, Wang Jingwei is almost exclusively remembered for his pessimistic treachery. Even to this day, the name Wang Jingwei is still used as a Chinese slang term for somebody who is not reliable or trustworthy. The fall of Wang Jingwei has truly left its mark on history. And what a fall it was.